mean, really, think about it. You are a repository for the living Spirit. You are a sanctuary for God. You are the place where the divine lives and breathes and moves and has its being, as our founder says. How much more grace can you get than that? Being filled up with Spirit so much that it is absolutely oozing forth from you, pouring out from you in all that you are, all that you do. Everywhere you go, you take that sanctuary with you. As they say in the Bible, the place on which I stand is holy ground, for God is there. I am a walking, living, breathing sanctuary for divine grace. I think I got my definition. So my talk title today is Living a Life of Sacred Intention. You know, I love intentions. I love intention setting. I love this idea of forming this thought that is going to be like my guiding compass for my life for that period of time. That idea that I have done some mental work to get to it, but I've done a lot of spiritual work to let it come through me, and then I let that live itself through me and show up in all different ways that we can experience it in our lives. The thing I love mostly about intentions is that once you set an intention, you don't have to constantly be focused on it. It starts to come alive inside of you, and that it starts to live itself through you as you move about your day. I love this definition of a sacred intention here. A sacred intention is a conscious commitment to align your thoughts, words, and actions with your highest spiritual values and your deepest sense of purpose. So it's aligning ourselves to that which we hold true to ourselves, that which we hold most high in our lives. So if being of service is something that you value greatly in your life, then your intention is liable to be something that along that line. If being a place of love is important to you, then your intention will probably come along with something along those lines of that too. It's more than just a goal. So often we think of intentions as goal, like here in our center we always do a New Year's intention setting, which sometimes gets confused with New Year's resolutions. Resolutions. How many of you have ever kept a resolution very long? That's the same as some of those goals I make for myself. I'm going to lose 5 pounds a month this year. Yeah. So those kind of things. So that goal is an idea that doesn't have a lot of spiritual oomph behind it. It doesn't have a lot going on with it for that. Now, there are people who can set goals and really carry them out. I admire those kind of people. I'm not one of them. But an intention is more of an inner vow that you make with Spirit. It's an inner commitment. It's like us consciously saying, this is what I want my life to be. This is how I want my life to show up for this period of time. It's awareness that our life is part of something greater than just what's happening around us. When we set that intention to align ourselves with our highest values, with our spiritual values, then our life becomes part of something that transcends all of our mundane activities. It becomes a bigger force for us. So a sacred intention requires both focus and surrender. It requires focus that we have to, think about those things as we're moving through our days and apply that to different situations. We don't have to have our attention on it all the time, but as things come up, we'll say, well, how would that show up if I was living through my intention? And then the second part of it is the surrender part, where we have to kind of step out of our own way. Sometimes our intention involves doing things that we wouldn't normally do, or taking those steps that are a little bit scary, things that we don't really want to work out in our lives, and we keep butting up against them, and somewhere along the lines we finally say, all right, enough, I'll do it. The surrender is important because that shows that we have trust in the Spirit to shape the path and the outcome for us. It's the way that we do this when we align ourselves with our intention, when we focus a little bit on that, when we surrender those things, those parts of ourselves that are hesitant, then we actually become part of a living prayer. an ongoing conversation between what our soul is longing to experience and what the infinite is unfolding through us. And so it's a really powerful process that we can go through. Last week, I showed you this little chart here. These are the stages of spiritual development that we use in many of our classes here. And I did want to say something that I didn't say last week, which kind of trips people up. When you see a chart like this, don't you kind of think, well, you go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4, and you finally made it, right? Not on this one. I just want you to be real clear. This is one of those where, well, I'll just give you an instance. This morning I got up and I was sitting in my meditation. I was clearly in the ASME stage. I was communing with Spirit. I felt aligned with Spirit. I knew that was perfect right then and there. And then I get in my car and somebody cuts me off on the freeway, and guess what? I've dropped right into the to me stage. I am right down there. Something has happened to me. And then, of course, I think positive thoughts, and I get into the by me stage where, I'm like, okay, change your thinking, Laura, change your experience, and then I can get back into that through me stage. This can all happen within 2 minutes, by the way. You can move through all 4 stages in any order at any amount of time there. So just so we're real clear, it's not linear. But I wanted to bring this up because of intention. So intention happens between that by me stage, that manifestor consciousness, where we're thinking thoughts and we're creating things in our lives. And between that and the through me stage, where we're actually surrendering and allowing Spirit to move through us. So the by me stage, that's the focus of it. That's where we're putting the focus on there. But the through me stage is the surrender. And that's where intention happens, in between those 2 stages most often. And so, again, intention setting is a creative declaration and a sacred surrender both. The creative declaration, when we declare something, that's in our by me stage. When we are surrendering, that's in the through me stage. We're allowing Spirit to move through us. And so it's both of those. It has to be that. It has to be an act of manifesting, as we do in the by me stage. You name, you clarify, you have some conviction about it. What you want to desire to experience or bring into your being, you clarify that, you name it, you actually claim that for yourself. And then you got to step out of your way, and you have to allow Spirit to move through you. So we do that in lots of different ways. We do it in our meditation, in our prayer work. We'll do it in visioning, and some of our other practices like journaling and so forth that we do that allow us to let Spirit come forth from within us. And so, again, attention setting is both of those things for us. So it's always about opening up a way within us where Spirit can work. As we're setting these intentions, as we clarify what it is we want, then we step out of the way and we allow Spirit to do the work for us. And then it winds up showing up in all kinds of ways here. But this part of allowing Spirit to move through us is a big part of our faith, our trust in the workings of the divine, the way it's going to move through us, knowing that it'll happen, not being able to predict the time or the way, but certainly knowing that it's going to unfold. Intention setting is totally about not controlling the outcome. Totally about not controlling the outcome. We set an intention, we step out of the way, and we have to be okay with the way it's showing up for us. Or we begin to set a new intention for ourselves. But this is about partnering with Spirit and allowing it to manifest through itself through us. In my own little mind, I can come up with the perfect idea of how I think something should go. And I can be upset if it doesn't go that way. But if I open up to Spirit's influence and allow it to move through me, I can be amazed at the wondrous things that show up in my life for me. So it's always about that aspect of knowing what I want and then surrendering and allowing Spirit to move through us. So it's about becoming a co-creator with Spirit. So that living intention is a co-creative space where I'm doing my part by clarifying what I want to experience in my life, and then I'm surrendering and allowing Spirit to move through me. A lot of this is, surrendering our desires, our wants, things we like, things we don't like, things we're willing to experience, things we're not willing to experience, knowing that the greater yet to be is unfolding through us. When we do it this way, the intention becomes a bridge between our human desire and the divine will. And it's a place where we can participate fully in our own becoming, while still remaining available for grace, for surprises, and for that greater good that Spirit has in store for us. Sacred intention invites us to bring our awareness to our whole inner landscape. It would be lovely, it would absolutely be lovely if I set an intention and I had one particular idea in mind and that was the only thing that happened. That's not been my experience. Let me give you an example. This is my intention for 2025. It's on a little card, it's on my computer, I keep it right in front of me all the time. I am exploding with creativity in every area of my life. This has really been happening. Now, those of you that know some of the things I've been doing, it's like crazy with all the stuff that's, a couple months ago, I listed all the things I had done like in the first 4 months of the year, and it was like phenomenal, and I just kept going on. I now have another book that's ready to be published in this week or next week, and currently have 17 bowls in the process of making for the 50 that I need to make for the chili cook-off. Between the ones that are still greenware that haven't dried yet, the ones that have been fired the first time, the ones that have been glazed, and the ones that are already done, I'm running out of space in my house for them. I have to bring them in here and store them in the storeroom there. But it would be lovely if everything that I wanted showed up exactly the way I wanted it to show up. But I don't usually find that's the example. In my life, what happens is all those things that are contrary to that intention that I've set also show up. They show up to be healed. They show up to be revealed as an issue that I need to deal with that I've been avoiding. They show up in all different kinds of ways. Some of them are just a little unsettling, a little bit disconcerting. Some of them are downright awful, as they show up. But it's everything that comes through that needs to be cleared away. So as I said, right now I'm using this as my intention, and I got a new machine to do some more creativity, which meant I needed more space in my craft room, which meant I just needed to give up my master bedroom. Well, I did that, and I'm cleaning out the room that's going to be my new bedroom, which was my old craft room, and I find this plumbing leak. So my house has been torn up for the last month as they've been dealing with this plumbing leak. Fortunately, it's a new house, and the builder is wonderful, and they're taking care of everything. But in the meantime, I have stuff everywhere because I'm unable to put it all away yet. My bathroom has been totally gutted. The bedroom that's right next to it is half gutted, and so we're just waiting for that, hopefully this week, to be completed. But again, this was my intention, to have creativity explode in every area of my life, and it did. Fortunately, it was just a pipe in the ceiling and not something with the toilet, so it was all good. No bad explosions. But it did. It showed up in that way, and that's what happens in life. Sometimes we need to move through things in different ways. The best part of it is, if I hadn't gotten the new machine and decided to move my bedroom, I probably would not have noticed that leak because it was behind a big cabinet in the bedroom, and I probably would have never moved that cabinet out until the leak became unmanageable. So, I just thank God. Thank you. Showing me that this was there, and it's healed, and it's done, and we're all good. Our founder, Ernest, puts this in a really great way that I've had a lot of issues with this statement in the past. He says that life is a mirror, and we reflect back to the thinker what they think into it. I remember literally saying to my practitioner, there is absolutely no way that I thought this situation is, and it's happening now. I didn't create this. I didn't think it, and so it should not be reflected back at me. This is not something, I'm not willing to accept this as a reflection of who I am. Of course, my practitioner laughed at me, but they are wont to do that every once in a while when we are being spiritually ridiculous. And so, that's the truth. Whatever I think into it, it's going to come back and reflect back in my life and my experience. Now, this doesn't mean that just because I think something horrible, I'm going to experience something horrible. But you can start to see the relationship between what my thoughts are creating in my life and what it is I'm experiencing. I've used this quote a lot because it was probably the most profound thing I ever heard in my life. That in 2005, when I walked into the church and I heard the minister say, "Change your thinking, change your life." And I thought to myself, my thinking has something to do with the way my life is showing up? That was shocking to me. I had never put that together. And so as we begin to look at this and declare this, and we set these intentions for ourselves, then that's always an opportunity to look at the things that are unlike it to be cleared away in our lives. It's not about punishing ourselves. It's not about looking down on ourselves. It's not about saying, "Oh, here I go again. I've messed up." It's about taking the opportunity to clear that stuff, to, as we say, peel the layer, one more layer of this discontent that we're experiencing. Peel it away and reveal the truth of who we are underneath that. As I said at the beginning, you are a walking sanctuary for the divine presence. So let's clear all that stuff away that's blocking that from happening. In Powers of Ideas, I love this book here. Ernest says this, and it's a little bit of a long quote here. He says, "Let us learn to rightly use the power greater than we are. Accept it as ever present with us, responding to us, always reacting affirmatively to what we do, or when we do, always casting out the past as we let it." That's a big one. That's a surrender thing. Always creating that new future we accept. That's another big one right there. We have to also be willing to accept what's happening. Let us begin to feel that we are worthy of the best that we can envision. Let us begin to feel that we are worthy of the best that we can envision. When we accept it as ever present with us and we react affirmatively to it, great things happen within our lives. But if we are constantly resisting or trying to control it or say it has to be this way and no other way, then we don't open up ourselves to infinite possibility. So again, let us begin to feel that we are worthy of the best that we can envision. Imagine what you can envision in your life, and then begin to feel that you, being that repository of the divine presence, is worthy of the best thing that you can envision. Allow that to happen. Joel Goldsmith puts it this way: as you live in conscious union with God, you find that your needs are met in just the right way at just the right time. When we remember that we are that place where God shows up, that we are that living, breathing sanctuary as God is moving through us, then our needs are met at the right time in the right place. It was obvious that I needed to change my rooms around. My needs were met at the right time in the right place. It wasn't exactly in the way I wanted it, but they were certainly met. And the problem was there, and the solution presented itself right on top of that. When we live intentionally, when we become co-creators with Spirit, not controllers, but creators, when we surrender the need to force outcomes, to force the way it has to be, and instead align ourselves with that divine pattern that is emerging through us, imagine what can unfold in our lives when we allow ourselves to keep that idea in our consciousness, to live our life from that. I love the way my dear friend Colleen Tanaka always describes it. She goes, we're going to put on our glasses of that intention, and we're going to look at the world through it. You know how you talk about rose-colored glasses, looking at the world through rose-colored glasses? Imagine if I look at the world through my intention of creativity. Imagine if you're looking at the world through your intention of love, or abundance, or peace, or harmony, or joy, or whatever that is that you're wanting for yourself. Begin to look at the world as if it is already there, and see what unfolds in our lives. one of the great theologians of our time here. I love this quote. I read this quote the first time in prac training, and it has stayed with me. It's another one of those I have on the wall at my house. Keep fresh before me my moments of high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempest, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. This is a wonderful Howard Thurman. Keep fresh before me my moments of high resolve. That's why I have my intention on a card on my computer that I work at every morning. Keep fresh before me my moments of high resolve. Keep my intention present for me, so that when I go out in the world, I am reminded to look at the world through creativity. I'll try to avoid the exploding part. But I'll look through the world with creativity in a little greater way each and every day. So this everyday sacredness, this sacred intentions that we have, it doesn't have to be lofty, it doesn't have to be dramatic, it doesn't have to be some big grand thing. It's what is calling you, what is coming through you, what has come through your mind that you want to clarify as your purpose, and what is coming through from Spirit in that through me stage. What is coming through for Spirit's idea of it? These affirmations can be, or these intentions, can be simple as can be. They can be, today I'm going to be kind. And so every time I'm in any experience, I can remember, today I've decided to be kind. Again, sometimes we're surprised at what shows up for us to look at. We might find all kinds of opportunities where we get to practice being kind. Today I intend to speak truth gently. Today I intend to speak truth gently. So that when we're confronted with people who are speaking things that we don't believe are true, we can confront them gently in a way that other people could possibly hear it. Because if we come at it with force or anger, nobody's going to hear that. Today I intend to walk with gratitude. As Thich Nhat Hanh says, let every footstep kiss the earth with gratitude. As you walk around the world, think of your footsteps kissing the earth with gratitude, being grateful for all that you have. This is one that's probably not practiced nearly as much as we ought to. I intend to forgive what I no longer need to carry. I intend to forgive what I no longer need to carry. I think we all could practice forgiving ourselves a lot more. There are certain things that we hold on to, and we're so hard on ourselves about them. But to begin doing some practice of forgiveness as an intention is powerful. You can have your intentions be about anything imaginable. Whatever it is your soul is calling for you to do. You know, maybe it's have a little bit less cluttered house. Or in my case, stop buying so many craft supplies. I know, oh no. See, my fellow crafters over here. The secret of the greatest kinds of intentions is that they sanctify the ordinary. They find the beauty in the mundane, in the glory in the simple. They sanctify the ordinary. Now, this idea of intentional living requires that we practice it. Now, I could have written that intention back in, I think we did that at the end of December this year instead of the beginning of January. I could have written it back then and stuck it in a drawer and never thought about it again. But I don't. I actually have that written in all of my journals, the first page in all my journals, so that when I open my journal up, I'm reminded of my intention. So my journaling practice becomes more geared towards that. Of course, my meditation practice is, how can I be creative today? What can I allow Spirit to manifest itself through me today. The study that we do, the sacred study, the prayer work, visioning, which is misspelled there, left out an N, and then also our acts of sacred service. How can I be creative in the service that I give to others, in the service that I do to this center, in the service that I do for the world? How can I show up creatively through that? I asked that question early on in the year, and boy, did I get opportunities to share my creativity in all kinds of ways around here. So it's been wonderful. When we live our life with sacred intention, our life becomes a living prayer. As I said, we walk with gratitude. We look at the world through our glasses, colored with our intention. It moves through us. It breathes through us. It shows up as us in all that we are and all that we do. And we become that living prayer. So speaking of prayer, let's take this into our spiritual mind treatment. I invite our practitioners to stand and surround us with their consciousness, these beloved people. Spend a minimum of 4 years in sacred study, learning these spiritual practices, applying the spiritual principles. They are a gift to our center and to the world. So I invite you to take in a nice deep breath. Close your eyes. Relax your shoulders. Center yourself in your body. And feel Spirit breathing through you. And so right here and right now, I recognize that there is only one life, one presence, one power, one creative love intelligence that has brought everything into existence. That one was here in the beginning and shall be evermore. That one is that divine grace that is moving through life in all its wondrous expressions. It is that peace that passeth all understanding. It is unconditional love and perfect harmony. It is balance and wisdom and creativity. I know that right here and right now, I am one with this radiant expression of love. I know that it is living itself through me in all that I am and all that I do. I know every cell of my being is infused with that divine intelligence and wisdom and harmony and love. I know this is the truth of me, and therefore I know it is the truth of each and every one of us. For we are all that perfect emanation of this amazing love intelligence. And so knowing this truth, I speak my word. I know that as each and every one of us sets an intention to live as love, to be that place of wisdom, to be grounded in peace, all that we need is already within us to allow this intention to live itself through us, to fully manifest itself in all of its grandeur and glory. I know that each one of us is a living, breathing sanctuary for a divine love intelligence that is expressing itself uniquely and perfectly, just the way that each one of us is. I know that Spirit moves through us daily, hourly, second by second, with grace, with love, with passion and purpose. And I just give great thanks for this knowing. I'm so grateful to feel it, to see it, to know that it is happening right here and right now in each and every person. I know that this creative intelligence knows no limit and has no bounds and is expressing itself fully all of the time. And so knowing this, I walk forward in faith, in love, in trust, with great gratitude and great surrender. I simply give thanks for this, and I let it be. And together we say, and so it is.